Welcome to the podcast about investing in startups, where existing investors can learn how to get the best deal possible, and those that have never before invested in startups can learn the keys to success from the venture experts. Your host is Nick Moran, and this is The Full Ratchet.
Welcome to another release of Investor Stories. On this installment, the experts talk about their investment philosophy, how they evaluate early-stage startups, and how that may be unique from other venture investors. Here is the segment called Venture Investor Strategy. On today's special segment, we have Peter Boyce II of General Catalyst Partners and Rough Draft Ventures. Peter, can you tell us the story of how you arrived at your current investment thesis?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my work with Rough Draft and focusing on student entrepreneurs is really born from my time as a student. So, I was a student basically thinking through how can I kind of support my friends as they're building companies. And an element with that was, okay, more and more folks are trying to figure out how to get access to $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. I've never thought about investing before, but being able to provide capital would be a really, really, special and powerful thing for them as they're getting off the ground. And so that opportunity really kind of informed for me, what would it be like if I were almost like a student angel? And that was actually one of the first names that we came up with for Rough Draft. And I'm so glad we didn't end up choosing the student angels. That was like a biker gang. But I think that kind of, being in the mix of that and solving that kind of investment need from my own experience and from the experience of my student peers and my friends made it so that we were able to kind of engineer a program that was basically built by students for students.
On today's special segment, we have Jordan Knopf of Tusk Ventures. Jordan, can you tell us how you arrived at your investment thesis and also where it's evolved to today?
Sure. So it kind of goes back to the highest level. Regulation is always going to lag innovation. And, that we've seen this proliferation of technology companies being born out of multiple factors, and that we're now seeing the regulatory bodies pay attention. And I think that by creating this innovative model, bringing what was once only accessible to larger companies that could afford Tusk Strategies services to the venture community, we can help create and accelerate the new market leaders that are going to emerge in various verticals. So I think that was kind of the high level thesis. And I think that a major component is that we started looking at deals differently, looking at them not just what's it going to take for us to get our money back, what's this going to take to be a 10X, and what's it going to take to return the fund, but also what potentially could happen on the regulatory front that would make this go to zero.
Interesting. On today's special segment, we have Sergio Gurrieri of Tech Coast Angels. Sergio, can you talk about your thesis, evaluation process, and how you select startups to invest in?
So we do have a relatively rigorous, or at least very well-defined deal flow process. We have early committee meetings for screening companies that do apply. The best companies actually come in through referral, either referral from TCA members or referral from TCA portfolio companies. We have meetings with the large membership, 40 to 50 investors attend here in San Diego, and then we send companies to the other chapters. But it really boils down to the fact that we have a very well-defined and structured diligence process. As I mentioned before, we spend hundreds of hours in diligence. The whole process is well documented. We have a lot of meetings that we attend. We have instructions, and we have checklists, and we have templates. We take notes in a way that is very diligent. At the end, we put together these diligence packets that are very comprehensive, and there are hundreds of pages. And we shared those documents with the entire TCA membership as well as with syndication partners. So we're kind of lucky because we're a large angel group. Again, we're more than 300 within TCA, the TCA family. And so we have a lot of eyes looking at the particular opportunity with different perspectives. So the collective knowledge, the wisdom is really, really great. And also we have a lot of support from our analysts. At any given time, we have between 10 to 12 analysts supporting our deal flow and helping in due diligence. But we also have administrative staff, so helping with the logistics. And sometimes during syndication, we do joint due diligence efforts. So resources are really the key to do a good job. And we're getting more effective in syndication. That's what is really making the difference between investing in a sustainable, solid business that eventually will grow as expected, relative to a beautiful PowerPoint presentation, it's going to dissolve within probably a year. That's what we try to focus on. We try to scratch the surface and see what's really beyond. And sometimes I say, don't spend too much time on your presentation. The presentation doesn't have to be perfect. Make sure that the business is very solid. Sometimes you have entrepreneurs that just spend too much time purely on the appearance. And the reality is that they don't get funded. We just go through a process and very soon appears that the business is not solid. And I tell them, we have funded companies where the CEO was maybe young, maybe even not very confident, even shy or blushing. But that lasted 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So it was not necessarily a good first impression, but the business was really solid. The appeal was solid. The technology was very strong. And eventually the CEO evolved into his role. And now 3 years later, he's fantastic. Very confident, very aggressive, very bullish. So it's all about the business, not about the appearance. Because we don't write a check based on a beautiful PowerPoint presentation. We need to go beyond. If you do it based on a beautiful presentation, there are chances that probably you're going to lose your money. That is.
That will conclude this installment of Investor Stories. If you're enjoying the program and would like to see it continue, take a moment and leave a 5-star review in iTunes. Also, if you'd like updates on new content from TFR, as well as the top 10 VC articles every week, go to fullratchet.net and sign up for the newsletter. Okay, that will wrap things up for today. Until next time, over-prepare, choose carefully, and invest confidently. Thanks for joining me.